I just turned 30 years old today, and when I look back to when I was in my 20s, I can see why my 20s were so difficult. And so I wanted to make this video in hopes that it could help someone so that way they can enjoy their 20s a little bit more and not take your 20s so seriously. I think the reason why a lot of people in their 20s do that is because you're thrown all these different responsibilities suddenly onto your lap. So that is such a drastic difference in your life. And if you look at my life now, that I'm approaching my new decade of life, of my 30s, I don't think you would actually see much of a difference in regards to superficial things like my career or the friends that I have, the place that I live in, etc., right? However, I think the way that I show myself out to the world or my self-image of myself has drastically changed. And I wish that I could have been more aware of this early on in my life in my 20s. And I think my 20s, I still enjoyed my 20s, but I think that it would have saved me a lot less. I would have enjoyed my 20s a little bit more. And I think a lot of people probably will understand what I'm about to say. Maybe you're not even in your 20s, maybe you are in your 30s or 40s or 50s. I think 30s to 50s is still very young. I don't think that 30s is old by any means. But when I just look at 10 years ago, the person that I was a very, very different person, which is a good thing. That means that I have learned and I'm still continuing to learn. But yeah, I think the first reason why the first reason I'm so different now is because, and probably the biggest reason, is I'm a lot more open-minded to things. So whether it's trying out a new hobby, meeting new people, or even when bad things happen to you, like when you go through loss or rejection, I think that I'm just a lot more open-minded to accepting those good and bad things in my life. I know that now that I'm at this stage in my life, I know that life is full of amazing good things. It's full of amazing good people as well. And you go through all these great memories. You get to try out different hobbies because you're a lot more stable financially. But I also know that life is full of suffering too. And I'm not saying that in like a degrading, depressing sort of way. I'm saying that in kind of a way of like, that's okay that we have these good and bad things that make us feel amazing and also make us suffer, right? And that's okay. We're all going to experience those things, and we need to learn to embrace that instead of trying to fight it. When I was in my 20s, I kept going into this continuous cycle of wanting to fight the anger, fight the anxiety, fight the sadness. Whatever it was, I just never truly accepted it of course I would cry or go through whatever it was, but I would always internally ask myself, why am I so depressed? Why am I feeling so anxious? Why am I this? Why am I that? Instead of just embracing that I'm going through a tough time and it's okay for life to be horrible at times, I just kept wanting to fight that. And I think that that was really difficult. The second biggest reason why I'm so different now is my self-image of myself. I think when you're younger, you tend to kind of get into this mode of, it's almost like you're fangirling, right? When you look at someone who's older than you, someone who is more successful than you, has a nice car, a nice house, whatever it is, whatever these superficial things is, someone who's, you know, got this many years into the career, they've worked in this career path for 20 years, 30 years, whatever. When you're young, you can't help but almost sort of idolize these people. And when you get older, though, you realize these people are just human beings at the end of the day. I know that sounds like common sense, but I think when you're young, you just can't help but you want to find a role model, right? So you look at all these people and you think, man, this person's got it all down. This person's got everything. I really need to look up to this person. I need to be like this person. And I think that that can actually be kind of harmful, because when these human beings make human mistakes, your image of them or your image of that mold kind of shatters down, and you're just like, what now? What do I do now? Am I doing things right? I thought we were supposed to, I thought my image of this was supposed to be like this, but now I don't know what to do. And you kind of go through this phase of not knowing what your identity is, your self-image is. The best advice that I can give in regards to that is just see human beings, despite all of their superficial titles, the possessions that they have, whatever it is that you're idolizing, just realize that they're just human beings at the end of the day. And they're probably going through something that you don't understand. And their life really isn't that perfect like you imagine it to be. I know that sounds like common sense, but I didn't know that because I was looking at someone and thinking, wow, they're older than me, so they must have a lot of wisdom, a lot of life advice or career advice, whatever it is. And yeah, just because someone gets older or has all of these amazing possessions doesn't mean that they're all that, all that. Yeah, that's basically it. They're not all that. And, I'm sure that there are people out there that really are that amazing with all of these superficial items and whatever it is. But they're really not that different from you or me. And I guess that kind of leads to my next point, which is, I've done a lot in my 20s, especially my late 20s. I got to experience a lot of things in my life. And I'm very grateful for them because it has helped me early on to realize that maybe these things that I thought I wanted in my 20s aren't really the things that I want. For example, I thought that I was going to be in a career path for the rest of my life. I thought that I would go back to school, get my master's, start making 6 figures annually, and I quit. I quit that career within just a couple years. and I felt like my life was crashing down. I didn't know what I was supposed to do. I had a horrible sense of self-image towards myself. I felt like I was a failure at life, despite, a lot of the achievements that I've made. I was just really confused about what to do with myself and my life. And I make a lot less than I do now. However, I feel this sense of satisfaction with myself because I don't feel the need to show it off to other people anymore. I don't have to tell people about these superficial things. And I guess that also leads to another thing. Because of that, the people that I surround myself with tend to have the same values as well. So they don't focus on looking at someone and just judging someone based on what type of career title that they have or the neighborhood that they live in, whatever. They share the same priorities that you do in life. And that's really refreshing. It's really, it's like you can take the weight off of your shoulders and you can finally truly be yourself around these people. And that's another thing too. I can quickly know if this person is going to be, oh, is this person going to be, I guess because I have a good sense of image of myself now, I can put that on to other people as well. So when I have a first impression of someone and I meet someone, after a little bit, I can kind of get a good idea of who that person is. When I was younger, I really didn't know that. I didn't have this very good sense of awareness with people. In Korean, you call it nunchi. And the best way I can describe this or translate it is discernment, I think. Yeah, discernment towards a certain situation or people. That sense has grown significantly. And I don't think that that comes with age. I think that that actually comes with experience and just really getting yourself out there, meeting different types of people. And that goes back to my first point about being more open-minded. So in my early 20s, or just in my 20s in general, I would quickly judge someone based off of what type of values they had. Or I feel like, especially when you live in the States, you tend to do this regarding political beliefs. And I used to think that I'm not a very political person anymore. My priorities in life have kind of shifted. But when I was in my 20s, I used to think that if someone didn't share the same political beliefs that I had, I would just judge them and think, oh, they're not smart, they're not capable at life, they must be fools, is basically what I would think. Now, when I meet someone, not just politically different, but just different in general, we have totally different hobbies, different careers, different lifestyles, whatever it is, I embrace it. I show interest in it. I continue the conversation. And I have, like I said, this open mindedness, if that's even a word, towards the other person and the conversation that we have together. The benefit of this is it's really helped me to make really memorable connections with people, and it also leads you to do things with other people as well. And so even if, whatever it is that you guys can't connect on, I'm sure that at the end of the day, there's something else that you can connect with this person, right? And I'm not saying that you're going to be friends with everyone that you meet. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying give them a chance. Don't just automatically put them on your block list, your mental block list. Don't do that. Just give them a chance, and you might make some really great memories with that person. I know that there is a lot of instability in your 20s. And we're human beings, so we're not going to make the right choice the first time around all the time, right? And that's okay. I'm probably not going to do that. Not even probably. I know I'm not going to do that just because I'm 30. I'm still so young. The average life expectancy now is like 75 or something like that. So I have a lot that I'm going to learn. But all of the things that have happened in my life or have happened to me, I don't look at it in a negative point of view anymore. I actually embrace it and actually think that it's a blessing. I am going to talk about grief here for a little bit. I did go through loss for the first time in my life last year, and it was really tough. I didn't think that kind of loss could happen to me. I remember thinking, why did this happen to me? There are so many other people who live a life without experiencing this kind of loss. Why did I have to go through this? But now after a couple months of healing from it and just going about my day-to-day life, I actually think that it's a blessing that it happened. I think that it's made me a lot more humble, which I needed. I needed to be humbled, and it's made me really understand why people do the things that they do. Even though it's not the most healthiest things, I can see why some people go through self-destruction. And I'm glad that I had a really good support system during that time in my life, because I would have probably done the same thing too. And yeah, support system means a lot. And like I said, because of all of that, and because my mind shift has changed to life is full of great and suffering things, I am able to embrace that loss in my life as well as a blessing. So I hope that this could help someone out. For anyone who's going through their 20s, I am happy to answer any questions. I don't think that I know it all, but I think that because my foundation on how I prioritize things in my life and how I see things differently have really shifted, it's helped me to go through difficult times in a more healthier and easier way than when I was in my 20s. But yeah, I hope that this helps you, and whatever it is that you're going through, just know that it is temporary. And I know I sound like a broken record, but just realize that this is just a temporary pain that you're going through. It feels like a long time, but it's not. And whatever worst outcome that you're thinking of, that you're anxious about, that's not the reality of the situation. And just know that, like I said, life is full of amazing things, but it's also full of suffering, and that's okay.